Your enemy is free. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying freedom. Your enemy is what is free. I'm Justin Hitt from Sustainable Wealth Secrets. Let me share something extremely important that you understand. If you want greater wealth, if you want more income, if you want to be in a position where the passive interest of your investments pays your expenses, you have to understand the free route is actually hurting you. Think about this. All the time it takes to find information on the internet. If you had valuable usages of that time, so for example, you got a choice. You can work and earn $1, or you can search on the internet, which actually costs you $1. Which of those two activities moves you forward towards a financial goal? Well, of course, doing some kind of work, being a producer and earning $1 versus being a searcher, being a consumer and spending $1. The earning always produces better results. Well, you're out there looking for free advice on the internet about how to increase your wealth. You're looking for free advice on how to build long-term passive income. You're looking for free advice on how to boost your net worth with assets that cash flow. And that leads you to the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, Forbes magazine, all these publications. Now, there's a lot of great newsletters out there. Don't get me wrong. There are some people who don't know the value of what they're doing and they give it away for free. But you got to find those folks, because there's even more individuals who give you information that's designed to sell you something else, or they give you information that's designed to position you to become a customer. Now, this is important. Look at the gold world. Every time the economy goes bad, the gold bugs come out and they start talking about how gold is the only way to preserve your wealth and assets over time. What about colored diamonds? Oh no, colored diamonds are only good when the economy's great because you can move them between borders. Oh, what about index funds? What about Forex? All these things pop up because their information drives the need for a product. Well, if you're out there investing in free information, learning and improving, you're feeding the enemy, because the enemy is there to suck up your time and most often to show you advertisements for where they profit. If you look at MSNBC, CNN, you're looking at the financial news channels for your advice, Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey. These people are out there to sell advertisements, not necessarily for their own product. And by the way, their products are good quality products for the customers they serve. The challenge is for a high-income professional or entrepreneur, somebody who's making okay money in the marketplace and above average earnings, they're not the target audience of Susie Orman. They're not the target audience of Dave Ramsey in these radio programs, because they don't have enough eyeballs. If you're in the top 10% of earners, then there's 90% market who can be paying for advertising. You know, there's pharmaceutical companies, there's Johnson & Johnson. They want to reach the 90%. The top 10% people can afford to buy other product. So they don't want to go after them. You don't want to invest in reaching those people. So what happens is these free news medias that give investment advice, that talk about annuities and mutual funds and stuff, are doing so because there are commercials. It's not information. So what I want to do for you to fight this enemy is help you first discern information and resources from commercials and a means of monetizing your attention, and also direct you towards investing in information that is actionable. If you spend an hour getting the right answers to a challenge and 10 hours invested in monetizing that information, then you're going to be better off than somebody who spends 5 hours searching, looking, hoping, wishing they're going to find that one nugget of information that takes them to the next level that they didn't have to pay to get. Well, first off, you're already paying to get it. If you're a high-income professional, let's say you make $100,000, $200,000 a year, when you calculate your every hour rate, now this is a factor that I use a lot. It's the total amount of your income by all sources divided by the number of hours you have in that year. If that's $12, $13, $14, $15 an hour, then you could be spending $150 searching for answers. So you spend 5 to 10 hours searching for an answer and you spend $150. What if you could have just gone to the library and got a book that had the answer? Well, the library is only going to carry the popular books, but that's a place to start. That's a place to get you the information so that when you take that information and go apply it, you spend an hour in the library, you get a few answers, you spend 3 or 4 hours applying that information. Now you become smarter about what information you need. You might find an information kit or resource or analysis or a consultation that's maybe $97, $197. Investing in that up front and then actually using the information would drive you further and faster than looking for that free nugget, hoping that one day you're going to pull up YouTube and they're going to have the perfect video that answers your questions about that thing that you've been concerned about, and you're going to watch the video. And then you're just going to magically, it's going to happen. That's magic. No, you're going to watch 2 or 3 Keen and Peele videos, and you're going to watch a couple cat videos, and you're going to catch whatever, attracts your attention, which is no different than somebody channel surfing, hoping and wishing they find that one thing. Look, folks, I'm here to save you. I'm here to get you off of the internet, to get you out of the search and into the application of practical strategies that increase your wealth, well-being, and overall financial prosperity. Okay? If you're able to increase your net cash flow, take that net cash flow and invest it in assets that create cash flow, then your net free cash flow increases again, and it's a boundless cycle. It is the truth of why the rich keep getting richer. The rich keep getting richer because they do things that make them richer. Why does the poor keep getting poorer? Well, the poor keeps doing things that makes them poorer. Now, I've been on both sides of this thing. I've done things that kept me homeless for 2 years. I went out looking for a job. I ran a company for a number of years. I was making about $98,000 a year. This is back in the 90s. I made some dumb decisions. I didn't collect my money on time. I made some mistakes about how I interacted with people and got the short end of the stick when deals went bad. I ended up homeless. I was in debt. I'm sleeping on my brother's couch. And you know what? I followed everybody else's advice, which is good advice for the general population, but not good advice for you. I simply went out and tried to find a job. In 1 year, I had 300 job interviews. I don't know how many applications I put out, but I sat in front of somebody else for 300 interviews. Now, some of them were on the telephone, some of them were in person, and they all were within a few miles because I didn't have a car. I was literally without, if it wasn't for the good graces of my brothers, I would have been out on the street. And by the way, that second year, I was cooking and cleaning for these guys. I couldn't afford to pay rent. I was on food stamps. I was having a pity party. It wasn't until I took the knowledge I learned in the 10 years before that of actually running a business and putting that information and resources into play, understanding the value of sales and marketing, understand the value of delivering value in the marketplace to specific customers who can afford to pay you. I was stuck. Then I put aside that enemy. I stopped searching for answers and I started implementing what I knew to be true. And if I didn't know it to be true, I would then test it in the marketplace. And then through testing and understanding, I ended up getting a sales position. I ended up accelerating in the sales position by solving people's problems with the products that I offered. I ended up going from there back into consulting. I ended up going from consulting to consulting with bigger and larger companies. And now I have a number of private clients who basically take care of me in a sense. I solve problems for them. I create millions of dollars in value for them every year, and then I receive a percentage of that. Now, I also have investment properties and investment in the marketplace and other things going on. But again, this is a evolution of knowledge that if I had simply up front applied what I was learning. Yeah, believe me, I've got volumes of Nightingale Conant programs. I've read 400 or 500 books. It doesn't matter how many books you've read. If you're not using any of the stuff, you feel better. Yes, it feels good to buy a book. It feels good to go watch a video and say, oh, well, now I understand that. It feels great to learn about economics and read the Wall Street Journal. But if you're not using any of that stuff, and so Sustainable Wealth Secrets is about implementation, because it is the enemy of your progress in order to believe free is anything. Now, of course, subscribing to the Wall Street Journal is a better value than reading the mainstream news that comes out for free. The mainstream news that comes out for free pays for their news through the influence of advertising, where the Wall Street Journal and other paid publications pay for their news through the subscribers' interests. But you might want to go one better, consulting and coaching services. My mastermind program is an investment in my organization serving your interests. I don't get money from outside folks. I don't get money from special interest groups. I get money from customers who I'm providing a service, professional service for. And then I go search out individuals who want to reach that customer base, and I work with those individuals to get the answers my clients need, and I pay them to do that. They're not there hoping that you're going to go do business with them. I hire them to solve specific problems. Maybe they come in as a subcontractor, or I refer them and they work with you directly. But ultimately, they are at your service. See, when you're out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, you're out there on the mainstream news sites, you're at the service of the news site. They have figured out how to monetize your attention. They make money for you paying attention to them. Now, of course, they gain all kinds of market data and other things that we could talk about as a means of increasing your own value. There's nothing wrong with you creating a valuable resource or product. I have many clients that have contributed to my newsletters that I paid them to write articles. They wanted to be paid for their knowledge. I pay them for their knowledge. They're happy. I'm happy. But if you're not a participant in the marketplace, then you are not benefiting from that marketplace, and you have no right to complain because you have fallen for the enemy, which is free. And see, it doesn't cost you anything to go down the wrong path. It costs you to go down the right path. But it is not a cost when you know and you implement and you understand and you create value. You are actually then paid to go down the righteous path, the right, correct path, the path that creates wealth and prosperity, the path that builds your net worth with assets that cash flow. Now, if you're interested in going down that path, then I want you to visit www.sustainablewealthsecrets.com. You can join us. There's a limited number of slots available. If you qualify, you can become one of the stakeholders in what I'm providing. But there's a lot of other resources out there that can do similar depending on your needs. I'm looking for a specific type of individual who's willing to say, I'm going to walk away. Who's willing to say, I'm going to do this for my family. Who's willing to say, look, I'm going for better things. I'm building wealth for my long-term prosperity. But again, you can just visit the site www.sustainablewealthsecrets and just ask questions if you like as well. I'm Justin Hitt with Sustainable Wealth Secrets, and I'm compelling you. I'm saying to you, get away from that enemy. Walk away from free. There's no such thing as free content. It costs you time. It costs you energy. And God forbid you take a false step with some of that stuff because you're listening to Susie Orman, and Susie Orman, actually Dave Ramsey's been pretty bad about the debt. Oh, you got to get out of debt. Well, debt is a point of leverage. If you know how to use debt the right way, you can actually have someone else pay your debt. Just like mortgage companies own real estate without having to pay for it because you're paying the mortgage. Anyway, we can go into this in details. I'd love to answer your questions. I'm here for high-income professionals and entrepreneurs, individuals who have a high income and they want to transform that into wealth. They want to transform that into high net worth that pays for itself. They want to transform that into lifestyle. Thanks for listening. I can be reached at www.sustainablewealthsecrets.com.